YouTube is dying. Is this current state of affairs caused by YouTube and the algorithm? In today's stream, we're going to be discussing the current state of MPC YouTube and why some MPC users are moving away from inspiring practical content in favor of news, updates, controversy, and speculation content. If you're interested, stay tuned, and we're going to get started on the stream shortly. Good with y'all. It's Jay Myrack for Altruwest.com. Back once again. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. We do these live streams every Thursday at 4 p.m. Central Time, man. So I appreciate y'all for tapping in for the next couple hours. We're going to be talking about MPC YouTube, y'all. Get ready. Get ready. We're going to be having this discussion today, man. But I'm just happy to have y'all here today, man. And I just want to let y'all know, man, I appreciate y'all. You know, it's always a pleasure to chop it up with y'all, man. So I'm ready to have this conversation. Let me know in the chat where y'all are watching the stream from, y'all. Let me know in the chat where y'all at. We're going to get started in just a moment. Just going to let a few more people come in the room and come in the stream. And if you're watching this, go ahead and share this. If you got IG, if you got a Twitter, if you got any social media that you have, go ahead and share this so that more people can join the conversation. But yeah, I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for sure. I see folks in here. Before we get started, of course, I'm going to say what's up to everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody that stopped through for a little bit. I see Maximus in here. What's going on with you, man? Appreciate you. THX, man, my bro THX, man. THX, incredible producer. One of the producers that helped me with True School. Appreciate you for stopping by, man. Joe Fire, a true sound creator, man. I appreciate you for stopping by for sure. Alavon Major, what's good with you, man? You know how we do it, man. I appreciate you for stopping by, bro. Let's see here. We got DeWitt NL. What's good, fam? Another true sound creator. Appreciate you. Gird Up International Ministries. Another true sound creator. I appreciate you, fam. Tadrick, what's good with you, fam? You in H-Town, man. Another true sound creator. That's what's up, man. How long you in H-Town, bro? Appreciate you for stopping by, man. Mr. Spacely, what's going on with you? A West Coaster in the house, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate the love on the beat video as well, man. Appreciate you. Chris Davis, what's going on with you, fam? Born Shamir, another true sound creator. Salute, fam. Jack Bauer, what's good with you? Cohe Studio, another true sound creator. Salute, fam. Nor Monster, salute. Another true sound creator. Get at Nard. Yes, sir. Another true sound creator. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with your boy today. Let me see who else is up in here. Of course, we got my trusty mod, Upbeat Media. Thank you so much, Upbeat Media, for directing traffic. Y'all pay attention to what's going on in the chat. We had some technical difficulties with the fan base app today, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do the fan base thing today. We'll see later on in the stream if I can get that going. But check out what's going on in the chat. Upbeat Media is our moderator, and we'll be directing traffic. So make sure y'all follow the rules and the guidelines and things that are posted in the chat. Make sure that you pay attention to that. So thank you so much, Upbeat Media. Cold Heat Studios. He said, what's happening with the insect situation? I think we're straight now. It took a couple of treatments, but we found the source of the issue. They were indeed mud daubers. We had some mud daubers that were trying to create a nest in the attic, and they have been dealt with. So I appreciate you. Let's see here. Maximus said all the way. Okay, from ATL, yes, sir. G-Ball, what's going on with you, fam? Another true sound creator. DJ Guy West, another true sound creator, man. Appreciate you, fam. Yes, sir. DJ Loop Beats, another true sound creator. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. The Art of MV said the intro is so West Coast. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. Okay, you're gonna be here until Saturday night, man. Yeah, well, when I got off the stream, I probably I'll hit you on IG. Let's chop it up, fam. If you have some time. But don't beat down. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all for joining. Before we get started with the content, just a couple of administrative things. So check it out. For those that are subscribed to this channel, you may have already seen I posted a new video. Some of y'all are already talking about it in the chat room, so I appreciate y'all for commenting on that. But yeah, when this stream is over, go ahead and check out the latest video. I think the cook-up was pretty dope. So I wanted to make sure we continue to showcase music production on this channel. So when the stream is over, go ahead and check out that latest video that I posted. It's a MPC 4000 Cord Gadget Cookup. Came out pretty nice and had a new setup. So yeah. As I've been reworking things in the studio, I moved some things around. You can see like just some different things going on. Of course, SP and all that is right here. Keyboards is kind of rearranged. So you know, I always love to validate the new setup with a cook-up as always. And yeah, that one happened to be recorded. So yeah, check that out when we get through with this. But if you're not already subscribed to this channel, subscribe to the channel. This is a channel where we do music production talk. We do music production videos. Channel been around for almost 18 years now. We don't just focus on MPCs, but MPC is one part of the arsenal. We definitely are advocates for hybrid workflows. So MPCs, DAWs, iPads, anything related to technology that we can implement, this channel will cover. So if you're interested in music production demonstrations, music production education, music production chat, make sure you subscribe to this channel. We also do this weekly podcast where we have this music production talk and we discuss a lot of different subjects. So you don't want to miss it. If you don't want to miss these, if you're interested in keeping up to date, just make sure you subscribe to the channel, of course. We are on the road to 15K subscribers. So I appreciate everybody that has stayed subscribed and all the new joiners. Appreciate you and welcome. And if you're interested in that next level of content from this channel, our True Sound Creators membership offers over 60 hours of music production archive content. So this is videos and live streams that we've done that are no longer available on YouTube directly. We have interviews with people like EA Ski, Snipe Young, Divided Souls. We have exclusive content like gear walkthroughs. We did walkthroughs of a Hydra synth. We did some shootouts comparing MPC modes, and we got a lot of exclusive content in there as well that is music production focused. These are longer pieces of content that go a little bit further into detail about music production, things that I couldn't normally do on the main channel. So if you're interested in getting that deeper dive into the content, I would recommend that you become a true sound creator. True Sound Creator membership is accessible directly on this page. And my moderator, Upbeat Media, has posted a link in the chat room where you can sign up to become a member of True Sound Creators. It's well worth it, and it's a great way to support this channel. On top of that, True Sound Creators are able to get access to very special discounts. We have a working relationship with Divided Souls that has provided True Sound Creators with a special discount on their Amplify plugin. We also have some more upcoming discounts and things to offer, but one of the things that I also provide a discount for True Sound Creators is my ebook, The Sound Mind. So The Sound Mind is an ebook that I wrote for music producers that are looking to get the next level of access to unlocking their creative potential as music producers. It is a archive of over 20 years of music production tips, insights, knowledge, protocols, things that I've used successfully as a sound designer in the domain of music tech for the past 20 years, working for companies such as Yamaha and Native Instruments as a sound designer. So I talk about a lot of the different strategies and the tips and the tools that I've used over the years. And this is a ebook that is coming from practical real world experiences and insights that I have observed over the past 20 years. It is well worth the spend, the $47 here. But if you're a true sound creator, you get access to this ebook for a special price of $19.99. So that's why I recommend you become a true sound creator. But even if you're not a true sound creator, this ebook is well worth it. The reviews that I've had from people that have read it, people that have been doing music for over 20 years have commented on just the insights and the level of details on certain things that they may have never thought about before. It is a very, very good read. So I recommend that you pick up The Sound Mind. And again, it's a good way to support this channel if you're interested in supporting this channel. Upbeat Media has posted a link to get The Sound Mind. It's directly on my website. It is exclusive to my website, so you can only get it at Altruwest.com. You can find the link in the chat room, and there will also be a link in the video description if you're watching this on a video on demand. All right. Appreciate y'all for being patient. Let me get things in order here. So, the truth about MPC Youtube. I know y'all saw the title and said, man, here we go. Altruwest finna go crazy. No, we're gonna have a real discussion. You know, this isn't, I don't do these videos to disparage people. I don't do these videos to cause controversy or anything like that. But I want to have real discussions about what's going on. So, you know, we're very clear about what's happening and also to bring solutions to the table. I'm a solution oriented person in the end. So I think for me, it's important to be able to bring perspectives that also are coupled with solutions. So that is the purpose of this stream, is to talk about what's going on and to also bring up the solutions. So, you know, MPC YouTube is really a subset of the music production YouTube. Okay, so music production YouTube is like the bigger category. It's the umbrella that MPC YouTube lives in. That was originally about in, music production YouTube was originally more of a place to display studio sessions and beat making sessions that were happening by producers that were actually actively producing and working on records. Wasn't necessarily just about like pro or established music producers either. Like music production YouTube included, of course, a lot of amateur producers, people that were just passionate hobbyists. It had the full gamut of music producers, but it was about really capturing sessions and the artistic expression. And YouTube was a place to upload these things. So early on, when I first started posting videos about 18 years ago, there wasn't a lot of like music production video content. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to make video content, was to expose the the real thing, expose what was really happening in the studios, expose sessions, expose workflows, expose tools. That was the purpose. And when I started 18 years ago, there just wasn't a lot of people doing that. My first video on in music production YouTube was using an MPC 2500. So I like from day one, I've been doing MPC related content, so to speak. But that was just, that was what I was using at the time. I wasn't doing MPC content because there was any type of search engine optimization or anything like that. It wasn't like that when I started. It was just like, that's what I use. So you're going to see me make beats on what I use. And whenever I changed or moved on to something else, then you would see me make beats on that. None of that was about trying to appease an algorithm or trying to get some SEO or nothing like that, because it just wasn't that game back then. With respect to MPC content, yeah, we just used to post beat making sessions and share our experiences with specific gear. And the experiences we would share would be based upon like real world stuff. It wouldn't just be like, hey, a new product came out. Like nobody back in when I first started, nobody was getting like new equipment from any of these companies. Like everybody that was on YouTube purchased their whatever gear that they were using with their own money, or if you was using certain programs and you didn't pay for it, then you acquired it by whatever means you acquired it by. But for the most part, people were using stuff that they bought with their own money. It wasn't like, hey, like new product came out, like everybody's gonna post something about it. There was none of that back then. So it was always real world experiences, people talking about stuff they were actually using that had been using it for a while. And, actual beat making footage was pretty low in quantity. So like there wasn't a lot of beat making footage out there in general on the internet. So, back in the day when you used to post like a beat making session or something like that, it would get a lot more viewership. People would watch it because it's like, I've never seen this before, or there's only been a few clips of these, beat making sessions that I've been able to see. So this is an opportunity to see something new. It wasn't a lot of it. So the views used to go up on just beat making videos and studio sessions. MPC culture specifically is very deeply connected to sample culture. So like a lot of the early MPC videos you would see would be still sample based music production. You would see a lot of people chopping up samples and showing how they work with samples. And that's an MPC paradigm. Like MPC is synonymous with sample based hip hop production and house, right? So many producers in the MPC YouTube community are making content that is using samples. That's the reality of it. So, many of the MPC users are going to use the MPC and showcase sampling capabilities and sample recording and sample chopping. That's just That's MPC culture. The problem is because MPC culture is so deeply connected to sampling, sample based production is not really rewarded on YouTube. That's just the reality of it. If you're a MPC YouTuber and you use samples, which a lot of them do, either it's if it's records, vinyl, chopping samples from YouTube, chopping even, splice loops or whatever, you name it, right? If you're using samples, if you're using an MPC, you're probably going to be using some type of sample content at some point. And sampling is just not rewarded on YouTube. Channels that use samples tend to be at greater risk for demonetization. It doesn't matter if the channel is using records or splice or commercially available sound content. They're still at risk. So that means that a music producer, MPC producer, that is using samples needs to monetize their video content using alternative methods because they can't rely on the AdSense revenue to fund their channel. And let's be real about YouTube. YouTube used to be a place where people were uploading content that they just kind of randomly recorded for a while. It was random clips and, just things that were more candid footage, right? It became more of a highly produced platform later on. So the YouTube of yesteryear is long gone. People are not just uploading like random stuff anymore, at least the ones that are like taking it seriously. They're not just uploading random little sessions and, poorly shot things. People are uploading highly produced pieces of content, multi-camera, lighting, expensive lenses, expensive audio setups. You see everybody on YouTube now got a SM7B or some type of, USB microphone. Production value has gone up tremendously on YouTube content. And that includes for the MPC producers. You got these videos that got these multi-camera setups, capture cards, all that stuff. The production is higher, much higher quality now. It's higher value. So of course, people that are doing this most likely want or intend to try to monetize it. So that's why I'm talking about. The fact is, if you're a sample-based producer and you're using the MPC, you may have to try to monetize your production in a different way if you're doing YouTube content, because you're going to immediately get hit with copyright warnings and all kind of stuff, and you will lose monetization quickly. Channels that don't practice sample-based styles are also at risk in this content ID era. So let me add some color to that. For the majority of my tenure on YouTube, I have purposely avoided the use of samples, especially when I became a YouTube partner. Now, I do use samples in my production. If you look at like my repertoire as far as music production is concerned, you can hear samples and things in various songs that I produce. I'm a sample producer, and I don't like to toot my own horn, but I think I do a pretty decent job at sampling as well when I do sampling. But on YouTube, I don't sample. I think the last major sample that I used was like the Addict video, which is like over 15 years ago. Don't really use samples on this channel. Everything's from scratch. My latest video that I uploaded today, the one that some of you guys mentioned, my latest video today features a sample-free beat that I made from scratch. You can see me making the beat from scratch on this video, starting from the first kick to the last keyboard sound. That video was hit with a copyright claim from UMG. And they claim that that video contains a sample of EPMD's You're a Customer. Now, I'm going to do a video talking about this later. I'm going to do a separate video discussing that and discussing what's going on with that. But let me tell you, that copyright claim already means that any potential revenue that's even generated from that, and that's original music, any potential revenue that's generated from that will be put into an escrow for now until they decide, until UMG or, whoever gets to review this copyright claim says that, oh, they don't own that. And we'll see how that goes. Separate video, but I'm just letting you guys know. Dre Hart, man, appreciate you. I appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so much, fam. Appreciate you. But I just want to throw that out there. That's an example of music production that was done that is completely without samples that still got hit with a copyright claim. So nobody is really safe. I don't care if you don't use samples. I think what YouTube is doing is further illustrating this continual nudge for even the music production community to move away from beat making content and studio session content. Because nudges like that say, well, I don't care if you actually are creating and showing your process and like showing us that you have talent and skill to build something from scratch. I don't care about that either. If you're not aligned with what we want, and there might be different things. There might be different things that they're doing, right? But we know that YouTube does have its own music library and it has its own relationships with labels. So a lot of the protocols that they use in terms of like content ID and all that stuff are related to their business model, which I understand. But this is a nudge. This is a nudge towards, we don't want to see that. We want you to do more of what aligns with what we're trying to do. We are now in an era where talking hypothetically about MPCs, like updates and, what could be coming out or what we believe should be happening with MPCs or all that kind of stuff, that's more important today than actually using the MPC. The content that is done that is talking hypothetically about stuff is more important than actually showing how to use it or using it prolifically. Chris Davis, man, appreciate you so much. Thank you for the super chat, fam. Thank you. So this whole nudge towards making more speculatory, hypothetical content is very evident because you can see, you go on YouTube, there are tons of beat making like MPC videos on YouTube today that have less than 100 views. And that tells me that music producers even are not looking to discover dope beat makers making interesting workflows and, using interesting techniques. Personally, I tend to watch the videos that don't have all the crazy thumbnails and stuff and all of that. Because I know what it means when I see that versus when I see someone that kind of like posted something that doesn't have all that. Because I tend to see more of the artistry on that type of content. So I'm one that will purposely click on the videos that don't do all that stuff, right? But those are, usually from people that are not necessarily taking YouTube seriously. They just want to spread the joy of their process and spread, their music out there without, having to worry about anything except for just expressing what they did. So, but I tend to watch a lot of that, but a lot of people don't. And you can see from the viewership is not there. If they're getting less than 100 views, it's just not there. Hypothetical videos tend to outperform beat making videos today. Although we can gain insights from, different perspectives and, hypothetical situations, these hypotheticals don't provide any actionable information normally. You can easily see this week, for example, the velocity of views on the MPC desktop conversation, the MPC new hardware conversation, all hypothetical stuff. No, nothing is like tangible. Nobody has it. There's people that do know if one's coming out or whatever. Like there are people that are connected with Akai and whatnot and know. But for the most part, everything that's being talked about right now is all hypothetical. So that is getting much more bandwidth and attention than anything else. And especially more than like practical, like real studio sessions, people really doing things with the MPC. So the MPC rumor mill has outperformed the actual MPC usage content. Content creators that pay attention to analytics will make decisions on what content they produce based upon past video performance. That's just what a smart person would do that's actually invested into making content and producing content and whatnot. They're going to look at the analytics and say, when I did this, it only got this amount of views. But when I did this, it got way more views. If I got 10 times the amount of views and I didn't even have to hit a pad, all I had to do was talk, well, I'm going to do more of that and less hidden pads because I'm doing this. I put all this money into creating this content and editing videos and all that stuff. I'm going to do what's going to win for me. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time editing videos. If any of you guys have edited videos or anything like that and know the pain of it and then put it out there and you see, oh, it got 5 views. Oh, I got 7 views. Oh. If you're trying to play to win, you're not going to keep doing that. Especially, like the latest video I did, it took me 3 days to actually shoot and record and edit that video and do everything necessary to put that out there because you got to think about day one. I started the beat and had to set up all the cameras and all this other stuff. So you do that, record the first session, and I came back day 2, started the next session, recorded the tracking out session, started mixing and whatnot, come back a third day, finalized mixing, take all the footage, edit it up, put it in a format where it's consumable in less than 5 minutes because it was actually 2 hours of footage. So I had to truncate that down to something that was bite-sized so that people don't say, oh, it's too long, right? So 3 days worth of work. YouTube says, oh, you can't get paid from that. That's EPMDs. Anybody that's smart is going to make a decision and say, well, based upon what's just going on there, I'm not going to keep doing that. Not if I can just talk hypothetically and get 10, 20, 30 times the amount of views on not doing anything but speculating and talking about rumors and controversy. Why not just do that, right? So if a content creator sees that their practical content is performing worse than speculatory content, what do you think they're going to do? I'm going to let that breathe right there. Let me get some water. YouTube is part of the problem. And I'm going to tell you why. It's not the only problem, but YouTube is part of the problem. YouTube prioritizes click-through over content quality and substance. YouTube visibility is highly connected to click-through rate and average view duration in minutes. So they look at what percentage of people that see your content on their screen on the homepage click through, and then they look at how many minutes you actually watch the content. Those are big ones. Those are the big things that determine how much visibility your content will ultimately get. Click-through is largely connected to emotional triggers such as controversy, absurdity, rumors, anything that will drive people to emotionally respond will help with the click-through. That's why they have, clickbait and rage bait and all this stuff, right? That's how you improve the click-through. Obviously, we know that people also do the silly faces like, and all that goof stuff, right? We know what it is. Every time you see the and all that stuff, come on. And YouTube rewards that because it's based on click-through rate. So, these thumbnails and all that kind of stuff, it creates that situation. For artists that are looking to document their real works and use what they take seriously as what they present on YouTube, that absurd, that over the top, all that stuff that gets clicked through can undermine the real work that they're doing. And I think that's important, is that you need to understand, someone that's taking their craft seriously and wants to really showcase what they're doing may be a bit more modest on their titles and their thumbnails because they don't want to undermine the actual integrity of the art that they're trying to push out there in the end. So thumbnails may be much more honest, much more modest, much more reserved. And because of that, the click-through rate on serious creative content will be hindered. You won't get the same click-through because you're not doing the thing that gets the click-through, because it's serious content that you take seriously, that you want people to respect, and you don't want to undermine it with rumors, controversy, all this weird stuff that tries to emotionally charge you to click through. So, in a world that is filled with a lot of outrageous, absurd stuff, the serious stuff is going to have a hard time getting through because it's not playing to the YouTube algorithm that rewards the click-through and the average view duration, for that matter. So, what does that mean? It means the algorithm itself is further driving a culture around MPCs that feeds off of rumors, controversy, and speculation rather than practical advice and real life scenarios, because that's not what's going to actually appeal to people's emotions in the end. The real world stuff may not be as compelling as the rumors and things that are hypothetical and all that kind of stuff. So the culture around MPC content is being driven towards what is going to match the logic of the algorithm. New gear and early access to music equipment can help to skyrocket views on a YouTube channel. That's just a fact. If you got early access to any new software, new hardware, whatever, if you got access and you got a first look and you can create content before anybody else, that can skyrocket a channel. You're talking about if you were only getting a couple hundred views or less than 100 views per video, and then you got the latest whatever within this space, and you do video content, your channel will skyrocket because you become a source of new information and people are following you. And it also helps to build the authority of your channel because it's like, oh, well, they're giving that person something, so they must be worth listening to because they're important enough to get something from that company. So therefore, I'm tapped in, I'm tuned in. So a channel that gets early access will indeed just become a bigger channel by virtue of having early access and more knowledge about a certain thing. People that are doing YouTube and that are making content, they know that. They understand the value of having that sort of access. And they want access to that because it is a quick, cheap way to actually grow your channel. So much of the content that we see from content creators tends to be somewhat of an audition to get access to these new drops. Everybody's trying to hold their hand out and say, please pick me, pick me, pick me. I want the new thing. Pick me. I can show it off. I can do this. I can do that. Pick me. A lot of pick me behavior. Like just what it is, because I understand you're trying to grow your channel. You're trying to win. I get it. And it's not really your fault. It's really YouTube is kind of driving that because, again, when we start talking about like actual music production content, that's not getting the click through. But the news, the updates, the speculations, the rumors, the controversy, that's what's going to get the click through. So, one of the things is like, if I got the new thing, I'm getting the click through. If I'm showing me holding the new thing, I'm going to get the click through as opposed to someone that's like practicing the craft, doing something for real that, they're trying to share as far as like showcasing creativity is concerned. That's not going to get the same click through. So a lot of auditioning to get access to the new thing is what you see on the content. The more that we consume this content, the more it validates the relevance of these types of videos and presentations. And it helps to drive more content within that domain. That's the reality of it. The more you click on it, the more you watch it. If you're watching, speculation videos and those are getting, 3, 5, 10x the views that they normally get. That's just validating that that's what you guys are interested in. That's what people are interested in. And therefore, that's what you should make more of. That's the reality of it. What can we do? What can we do to solve this? If we want to see less talking videos, right? Because I've heard people say that, like, oh, why don't you guys just focus on just the music? Like, too much talking, First of all, there's plenty of other niches that are okay with talking and podcast format and all that stuff, right? I don't know why, I get why music producers are like, oh, just too much talking. But at the same time, it's acceptable in a lot of other niches to talk, number one. So I don't have a problem with talking. I think it's okay to have discussions about things that you're interested in. And I think it needs to be balanced. I think it can't be all talking, but it can't also just be all like everybody just posting a beat and say, listen to my beat. There's got to be balance. But if we indeed say we want to see less talking and more producing, then it needs to be rewarded. It needs to be rewarded. Content creators, as I mentioned, are not creating product-related content from the goodness of their hearts. It's just not happening. Not today. Not today where it costs money to make a competitive video or to make a competitive presentation. costs too much money to like produce this stuff at this point for anyone to be saying, I just do it out the kindness of my heart. Nobody's doing that anymore. Let's keep it a buck for real. Content creation takes time, effort, and costs money to produce. As I mentioned to you, even just the 5-minute video that I put out earlier today, that took me days to like put together and actually produce the music plus produce the video. Like, yeah, that takes time. Nobody's doing that just for it to do nothing, right? If we only reward content that doesn't provide practical, useful, or inspiring content or inspiring information, inspiring presentations, if we only reward the content that doesn't provide that stuff, right? We will not receive new, inspiring, actionable, useful content from creators. It's just not going to happen. If you only reward the stuff that's not actionable, people are going to be like, what's the point? Why am I doing that? We need to support content that we want to see more of. That's where it starts. It is not enough just to post or to click on like and comment on a video today. It's just not enough. Because I know a lot of people are saying, well, yeah, well, you get paid off of the AdSense, and I watched it, I gave you a view. Now we're having a streaming conversation, right? We all know we've had the Spotify conversation. It's the same thing on YouTube. I don't care how you slice it. It's still the same conversation. A like and a view is not enough if you want more of the type of content we're talking about, like the real practical, the real like in the studio, like really the real nitty gritty. If you want to see more of that, a like and a comment's not enough today. It won't help the creator to be able to make that sustainable. So if your favorite MPC producer on YouTube has a channel membership, for example, support them by joining that membership so that they can bring you content that you like seeing without being dependent on AdSense and gear shilling. Because the reason that you see so much gear shilling today is because the AdSense ain't enough. It ain't enough to make it make sense. I'm going to tell you straight up. AdSense is not enough to make the amount of effort it takes to create content make sense. So that's why you see so much gear shilling. Like, it makes sense. Trust me. That's why you're seeing it. So in order to be able to create an environment where we can cut back on the gear shilling, yeah, if you have a producer that you like that does the content that you like, support that producer by joining their membership so that they are not dependent on that AdSense to make any revenue. Especially like a sample-based producer. You know, a sample-based producer is like at such a disadvantage that the only way that they can really monetize is outside of like AdSense. So they got a membership, support them. The other thing is, if your favorite producer, your MPC producer, has a product or service that they offer, support them by shopping with them directly. Because YouTube has already taken a lot of the revenue from you on the AdSense side, and they're also taking revenue on other forms of contributing to the channel. So if you can shop with them directly, if they got drum kits, if they got preset packs, if they got video courses, if they have ebooks, if they have merch, support them by doing business with them directly, you know, so that they're not dependent on getting revenue from YouTube that may take anywhere from 30 to 45% of the revenue, because that is just not sustainable. And that's why they are being driven to do more shill content and do stuff that helps them to get the most amount of views, because that AdSense just is not that much money in the first place. But if you shop with them directly, you'll see less of that. they'll focus more on the stuff that helps them to provide the value that you're actually interested in, as opposed to them just being dependent on shilling for companies that will pay them just a little bit more as far as affiliates go. Like I said, purchase your favorite YouTubers' drum kits, purchase your favorite YouTubers' preset pack, purchase their loop packs, their video courses, ebooks, whatever makes sense for you. But gone are the days where we can just think, oh, I'll just watch it and they get paid from it and they got ads running. Like it don't get it twisted. Like I said, this ain't back 15, 17, 18 years ago when it was low quality, low effort content in the first place. It's just not like that. So don't think that that's enough to make it work. If you've ever watched public access, or you've ever watched any, or you ever listened to college radio or anything like that, there's a reason that when you hear them at, every quarter or, every year, they do their telethon. They say, if you enjoy this, programming, remember that this is brought to you by the viewers, and the viewers are responsible for keeping this going. So that's why that works like that, because basically YouTube in a lot of ways is similar to public access and college radio. So it is brought to you by the viewers. Ultimately, it's supported by the viewers. No different here. Super chats. It's another way. And I appreciate the super chats that people have provided, and that definitely helps. Also, just keep in mind, like, if you're watching a YouTuber that, like I said, does sample-based content, especially, don't just think that, oh, they got a lot of views. They may get a lot of views, but they can't monetize it. So don't forget super thanks, especially on these sample-based producer channels. Super thanks helps to make that sustainable, because they're not going to get the AdSense. I don't care how many views you see, they're not getting the AdSense on it. So hit super thanks if it's a producer that you like the content that they're doing and you want to see more of that style of content. It's very simple, but it's just holding yourself accountable for the fact that this is a platform that rewards a certain behavior. And if you want to see behaviors that go against that and align more with what you're looking for in terms of content, that's going to be on you, the viewer, to support. Super chat, super thanks, all of that makes it more viable. MPC users typically are at great risk of not being able to monetize what they're doing. That being said, I still want to ask the question to you guys in the chat. I know I've talked for a while. Are you guys still interested in like beat making videos, and do you want to see studio sessions, or are you just here now for updates and sales specials and feature walkthroughs? Is that what we're here for now? Have we gone away from the interest in actually seeing creativity and like production and whatnot? Is the MPC talk more compelling than the usage of MPCs today? Would you rather hear that? Are we no longer interested in practical, real world applications of MPCs? I want to know. I want to hear back from you guys. Let me know. Kind of want to see if we can get this fan base thing cracking again. Upbeat Media, if you can try to create another fan base room, I'm gonna see if we can connect. And I'll let you guys know when we get the fan base going. But want to hear back from you guys. I'm gonna read the chat. Appreciate y'all for listening, hearing me out. Somebody say you're my ASMR. The mouthiness. Appreciate y'all, man. Let's see here. THX, I see you in here, man. Appreciate you, man. You say repping the creativity. I appreciate that. Jelani Beats, I see you. EA Ski was good, bro. Actually, I saw you calling, man. I'm on. You see, I'm on live stream, so that's why I didn't pick up. Sorry about that, man. You said you need a super thanks for the beats you just did. Wow, appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. You see, I told you they tried to hate on me though, man, with that one. I told you that they said no. That's actually EPMD owns that. Appreciate, man. Thank you so much. DeWitt NL. Appreciate the super chat, fam. Let me see here. Man, you Mellis, I appreciate the support. Another true sound creator, man. Thank you so much for the support there. Joe Fire, yeah, check it out after the stream, man. Check out the latest beat video that I put up. Yeah, I think it came out pretty good. Ashley Prince Washington says the gear helps. It's about the music. The music at the end of the day, it's what you do with the gear. Absolutely. Jelani B says those thumbnails actually make me not want to click the videos, but they're everywhere. Everybody uses them. It's the same thing. Everybody uses them. So, like I said, YouTube is the culprit here on that because it rewards the click through. Let's see here. Ashley Prince Washington says all the NPCs now are amazing anyway. Okay, word. Daz Direct says I purposely refuse to click any video from any creator who uses the word this in their title. Name or item, name the item or no click for me. Word. Yeah. No, I get it. Two Papa says artists have proven time and time again that great music can be made on different hardware, software. Can't buy your way and work on your skill and put the time in. There's no shortcuts to this. Word. Dope Beat Dan says that's disheartening to hear you got a copyright strike. Love the beat and footage, man. Appreciate you, man. You know, it is what it is, man. Like this is their platform. And they have technology that they're using to try to govern their platform. And I understand that. But at the same time, it comes with some caveats. It comes with some issues. And one of the issues is that the what they're using is not perfect. It's not perfect at all. So because it's not perfect, you know, and you're trying to access what they call their particular revenue, you know, you kind of got to deal with what that comes with. And that comes with, hey, they may make mistakes. Then they may say, hey, you cannot use this platform to post that, or you cannot use this platform to monetize that. That's one of the risks we have as creators in general. Now, like I said, I've tried to make it where I don't use samples on YouTube just to reconcile that, but it still can happen. Yeah, for whatever reason, the fan base thing is not working today. I did an update on my phone, and then now it does not want to connect to, well, it was connecting earlier, but it's tripping here. Yeah, I know you can hear me, but I think it's not connected to the right thing. So I'm gonna still try to work this out. I'm gonna see if I get any audio from my phone. Let me see if I can play my own beat so I don't get I don't get copyright here. Let's see here. Nope, it's not connected still. For whatever reason, yeah, that Bluetooth has definitely stopped working. Yeah, this might be an iPhone thing at the end of the day here. Let me see. It might be this too. Let's go ahead and take it off. I'm gonna get back to the chat. I'm just trying to resolve a technical issue here, but Yeah, I think that's the risk we take as content creators in the end. It is, part of the problem is that we are dependent on these platforms and we want we want the visibility. So therefore, it's like, what do you do? What do you do, right? Um, Rob Taylor says, I really can't play, so I'll watch everyone else. Word. Um, Let me see here. Still testing here. Nope. Nope. That's crazy. Let me see what else I can do. No, that ain't gonna work. Let's see here. Uh Low Heat Beats was good, fam. He says, good stream, man. I think the number speaks for themselves. Like you said, more people would rather watch people talk about music rather than people make music. Yeah, that's where we are today. Unfortunately, and I know you do content, you do great content. The problem is that it's easy to look at the data and say, I'm gonna do more talking. Well, why am I gonna waste time making music when I can just talk? Right? So that's where we are. It's like if the talking is more effective ultimately, then you're gonna do that. You're going to do that, and that's just what it is. So I think that's why it's important for us to really support the channels that we believe are doing the things that we want to see ultimately. All right. Let's see here. TechBeat says we need to get back to having fun with being creative in the lab. Yeah, we do, but I think for a lot of people that's gonna have to be done in different ways. Now, I got some ideas about how to resolve some of this. Um, some of it is just up to us and like what we use as our platforms to create and also to share. Like that's just the reality of it. Like sometimes we're choosing things that ultimately don't serve us. I mean, again, we've had that conversation about Spotify, but YouTube is also creating a scenario where it is driving the content a certain way. And there's not much you can do about that if you don't think about the fact that, hey, um, yeah, this is where I am, and this is what their business logic is. How can I align with their business logic? I think a lot of times the easiest way forward is just to align with the business logic as opposed to trying to fight it. But I think there's ways around it. Um, Joe Fire says, I would like to see more of us showcasing why a piece of gear is dope. Yeah, I think that's the intention, obviously, with music production. YouTube is like, let's show why a piece of gear is dope. But I think it's most genuine when it's coming from the perspective of something that you have used in your production for some extensive period of time. If it's just something that you just got, it's kind of hard. I mean, you could talk about it, but it's like it's hard to talk about it. It's hard to talk about it without like really having to like kind of exaggerate about how useful it is in the end because you just got to know it. Let me see if this is working. It says it's connected. It says it's connected. However, I am not hearing you, sir. Man, that's crazy. Let me see. Yeah, it says it's connected. Hmm. Yeah, I don't think the fan base thing is gonna work today. It's just not cracking. Yeah, that's not working. That looks like that's an update issue on my side, it looks like. Okay. Back to the chat. Let's see here. Petrol Media, what's going on, fam? I know it's been a few weeks. I know you're on the way to a new place, new beginnings, man. So congratulations on new beginnings for you, fam. Let's see here. Charles 13 says, I don't even like to chop sample or chop samples. I rather time stretch and tempo match. Word. William Ellington says, YouTube is a marketing machine in every industry and hobby these days. It's a gift and a curse. Knowing every synth that's out isn't normal. No, it's not. I mean, we always had magazines and stuff. You had Keyboard Magazine and Future Music Magazine and Computer Music Mag and all that stuff. You can keep up, back in the day. You used to be able to keep up that way, but I think we're bombarded now. The algorithm is pushing a lot of this like gear review content to you, and it really exacerbates the issue and makes it where nobody wants to do anything else but make that type of content because that's what's getting views. Unfortunately, let's see here. Yeah, I think fan base is still not acting up here. Trying to make it where y'all can come back on stage, but yeah, I think whatever update I did on my iPhone kind of tanked my situation. Let's see here. DJ Skills says, I definitely disagree. I've learned so much from watching others make beats and have learned watching me make beats live and pre-recorded. You disagree with what part? That's what I'm trying to understand. You definitely disagree about what? Yeah, I'm confused on what you're disagreeing about because you said I've learned so much from watching others make beats. So do you disagree with people are not interested in watching beat making videos? Or is that what you're saying? I'm trying to like understand what you're saying. I'm assuming that's what you mean, but maybe you mean something else. Let's see here. G-Ball says, is the answer to increase one's overall notoriety in his or her area of expertise first? In other words, if more music YouTubers had music that was performing well in the market, would they get more views? I mean, of course, um, being a celebrity will get you more views, right? So I don't think that's if we break it down that way, right? That gets absurd pretty quickly, right? Like just become a celebrity in your domain and you'll get the views, and obviously you won't have to worry about that. Like, well, not everybody that does music will become a celebrity. I'm not trying to minimize what you're saying, G-Ball. I'm just saying, like, think about it like that. That's kind of what we're saying ultimately is like, yes, celebrities will get the most visibility, and that's always been the case. But the reality is a lot of celebrities didn't showcase music production. They didn't support the content that we wanted to see. Like, you know, there wasn't a lot of celebrities that were letting you into the sessions and showing their process and all that stuff. So it can't be that becoming a celebrity is our answer, because most people are not going to become celebrities, but they still have value and they still have creativity that can be shared. And I think that we can't just say like focus on getting big first before you try to share something. Charles 13X says, I missed the magazine era. It was a whole bunch of knowledge without hype. Yeah, no, yes and no. Yes and no. I think early on, it might have been more like that. But I mean, the reality is the business of a magazine is to sell ads. Don't get it twisted. The business of a magazine is to sell ads. You may, they may be selling a selling the actual product itself, which is the physical magazine, but the underlying business is selling them ads because they got an audience. It's targeted based upon the subject matter. Selling those ads became a big source of revenue, and some magazines did become very shilly at a certain point. So I won't say that it's just like unbiased because their business relied heavily on the ads, just as YouTube does. Um, Mike Fresh Beat, salute, fam. Appreciate you. Um, Charles 13X says you could have learned the same thing in a day or two if you read the manual. Well, that's a whole different thing, sir. That's a whole different thing. A lot of people don't have time these days, I guess, to read the manual. So they be like, man, YouTube. And I don't mind the idea of people searching for a quick answer on YouTube. I'm not hating on that. I think some of what we search for can be repetitive and redundant though. I think, you know, release notes exist on most websites for manufacturers. You can look at release notes and kind of figure out what's added. It's cool to get somebody's perspective of what's been added, but if it's a product that you have access to as well, it's like, well, why don't you just check it out then? But I think we're getting out of this era of trying to test things ourselves, and we would rather test things by proxy of someone else. And I think that's where the YouTube situation kind of lends itself into the sensibility of being able to use our favorite YouTuber to test out an idea. Like, oh, did you try this? Or what about that? And it's like, well, why don't you try it? But it's like, well, because I don't want to do that. I want to see if it worked for you first, and then I'll do it. That's where we are. DJ Skill says, I disagree about when you mention people rather hear talking. No, I get you. I kind of figured that's what you were disagreeing with. I just want to be clear. I think that you may be in the minority just based on what the data is saying. And maybe you didn't hear like the beginning part, but I was just talking about how it also just becomes like difficult for creators that are especially in this MPC domain that are very sample heavy, especially it's very hard for them to justify it after a while. I mean, there's creators that still get views on like beat making videos or whatnot. Don't get it twisted. I recognize that, but there are other factors that come into play. So all I'm getting at is realistically, a lot of us that see what's going on say, well, the talking is getting more visibility, getting more push. It's lower effort. It's all that stuff. So why not just do that instead of like trying to manage recording sessions and whatnot of me actually creating because it's easier. G-Ball said he's just thinking out loud. And I hear you, man. I get what where you're coming from with that. I'm just saying, like, realistically, we cannot create a situation where it's like, yeah, you just got to be famous to be able to do something. Like, the content will get so stale because realistically, a lot of the creativity comes from like, you know, artists that have a little bit more time in isolation and are able to explore things outside of the normal machine. So like the bigger artists tend to kind of fit into the machine very well, but a lot of creative stuff happens when people are able to go outside of the box. And you're not going to get that from a lot of the big celebrity artists at this point. It is what it is. Let's see here. Petro Media says, as a community, we need to find a way to increase the CPM for our niche. Not sure how, but that will help change the algorithm's outlook on what we do in this community. Here's the thing about the CPM conversation. And I talked about this in the target audience video. Um, that's not a sexy topic, and I know a lot of people didn't watch that video, but um, the music production niche is small. It doesn't have the total addressable market is not large at all. Um, the amount of revenue being produced within this niche is not as high as other niche and interests. So when you talk about who's monetizing or who's buying ads on top of like a music producer or music creation oriented channel, right? It's gonna be those that have interest in getting in front of that audience. So if you say like, say your favorite music tech company is going to buy ads to get in front of the audience that's already locked into that topic. But the problem is they don't have that much money in the first place to really be spending a whole bunch of money. So the CPM's never going to be extremely high for music production. And also just the amount of people. Like I said, the total addressable market is small compared to like, gaming or something like that, or, other lifestyle things. So you're not going to see a high CPM ever. Now we can increase the RPM, which is the revenue, right? We can increase that through some of the things I mentioned, like actually directly supporting the video content that you like, super chats, super thanks, becoming members, all that kind of stuff, right? That will increase the RPM for the creator, so that even if they're not getting high CPM through the ads, the RPM still will look good because it's like, oh, people are supporting. They're throwing super thanks at that video. They appreciate that. They're throwing super chats at that video. They appreciate what's being said in the information and the presentation. So then we don't worry about the ads. We are supported through the actual viewership and the members that are the people that are watching the content, as opposed to the people that are buying ads. Because music tech, even though music tech may have, your average music tech company probably has more than any one of us has in terms of revenue. They're not just coming from experience, right? Someone that's worked in music tech for the past 20 years, I can tell you these companies ain't balling like that. They are not. They are not. Yeah, they are not. So it's not, I think the CPM thing is not going to change the situation. It's going to be on us to support the creators and the type of content that we want to see. Leak says, not gonna lie, I just bought an MPC one, but I didn't upgrade it to MPC 3 because I'm coming from the MPC 2000 XL and was just kind of annoying. They got rid of programs. Yeah, I'm a 2.15 person myself. Talked about that. Dope Beat Dances, I remember visiting Sonic State's site back in the day to read public reviews of music gear. Yeah, I do miss that era of more like the public reviews. Before everybody that wanted to have a review got on YouTube, we used to like have people posting things on different sites talking about what they experienced. And I think it was more genuine because a lot of those posts came from people that didn't receive the gear for free. And I'm not saying that receiving gear for free automatically means you're going to turn into a shill or anything like that. But it definitely does compromise some of the integrity of the review. Especially if they're paid for the actual review too. If they're like, product is payment in itself, but if it's product plus they've got a actual like fee for creating the content, it compromises the review. I'm sorry, it just does. DJ Skill says, I make beats live on YouTube and Facebook, and my viewers learn from my process just as I learned from watching others on all different skill levels. Word. Upbeat Media says it's about the feedback loop. How do we reset so that there is balance? Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, YouTube is responding to what we're clicking on and what we're rewarding with our viewership as well. So if that's all we're interested in, if listen, they're a database company. So if they're seeing like more people are clicking on this than that, then it's like we're gonna push more of that. That's how their algorithm pushes you content. They're like, oh, you watch that or you watch things like that. Let's post like don't look up something for the first time and then come back to your homepage. You're gonna see a whole bunch of that thing that you just looked up. Now it's like, oh, okay, we're just gonna keep showing you that until you don't click through on any of it. Then we learn like, okay, that was they're finished with that. Let's get back to the normal schedule, which is what you were clicking on prior to that last search. You can see it. You can see it. Um, G-Boss says, great answer to a question that required nuance. No offense, take it. No, I appreciate you, man. I understood where you was coming from, man. It wasn't, yeah, wasn't trying to get on your case and nothing like that. um, let's see here. Aaron Chandler says, I like both content music making and gear reviews. Also lives like this one. Word. Appreciate that. Desert Direct says, sound on sound and computer music were great. That's how I got my first Wave Lab and Reason software from the free included software CDs. Yeah, that used to be dope. I think that's the part that's missing for me on the YouTube experience is this whole like, hey, when I get this review, I also have access to like a whole bunch of new things that I can try out directly on this CD or whatever it was, whatever the medium was, what the CD was at that time. That's really missing from this experience. Like YouTube now, it's like, oh, I get to watch somebody review, but then it's very disjointed as far as like being able to test out things, some of the stuff that I'd be interested in. It's like, oh, go here, go there, download here. So yeah, something got lost in that part. Charles 13 says with AI search, there's literally nothing you can't find in 2 minutes. No need for long format YouTube videos anymore. I agree and disagree. I think long form has a purpose, but it's not for everybody. I'll say it like that. I will say that for those of you that complain about the long form YouTube content in the music production domain, like those that are like, hey, I want to watch your stream, but I can't watch 2 hours because it's too long and too many ads or whatever, right? I will tell you this. Your experience will be totally different if you get YouTube Premium. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. And I mean, YouTube don't have an affiliate for YouTube Premium, but I'm gonna tell you, if you watch a lot of YouTube, and there's content creators that I would watch all the time, years back. And a good example that some of you may be familiar with. I'm kind of going to expose some of my other activities outside of the music production, but I like comedy. So I would watch content from people like Corey Holcomb and Craig Fax and whatnot. And they would do podcasts, and I watched their podcasts. And after a while, those podcasts were 2 hours at a time. So after a while, I said, hey, I'm tired of clicking off the ad, and I got YouTube Premium. And YouTube Premium makes the whole experience much better. And I'll also tell you, YouTube Premium makes it, even if you don't want to watch a full piece of content, what's dope about YouTube Premium is that it has an ask feature where you can say, hey, what's this video about? Or summarize this video. And it will give you a text summary of everything that video is about. So even if it's a 2-hour video, like this is going to be YouTube Premium, you go on the video, you say ask, it will give you a list of all the things that were covered in that video. And then you can make a decision whether you want to watch it or not. That's the reality of it. YouTube Premium though, I don't, I've had people say, oh man, like your video's too long, I got too many ads. It's like, bruh, like, come on, man. Like what do you expect from us at this point? Cause it's like, you're getting this production, you're getting this value, you're getting the content, and then you're going to complain about ads. It's like, well, this is an ad monetized platform unless you're going to pay the creator directly for the content. And then that way they can put it in a place where there's no ads on it. It's ad free. But yeah, I do recommend YouTube Premium for some of you guys. It makes a lot of sense. Once you get YouTube Premium, these long live streams and other podcasts and whatnot become a bit more reasonable to watch. I'll say that. Let's see here. Getting back to the chat. He said, I missed the beginning. I have less than 600 subs and I'm not in this for the money. I'm here to share my talent and my process with others. And I appreciate the newbie who thanks me for sharing. Word. Because I showed them something new or different. Word. And that's all good. Like I said, I think as a creator, if you invest into what you're doing, you invest in creating a production, you invest in creating some type of form of entertainment, it's okay for you to expect to get paid for that. I do not promote a environment where any artist, any content producers, any entertainers are spending money, their own money, to create a production for others to consume and then get no payment from that. That's not the culture that I'm promoting. Like if you spend money investing in and putting on some sort of production for other people's entertainment, you should get paid for it. I don't care what it is. If you're producing music, if you're producing a concert, if you're producing a podcast, if you're producing tutorial videos, whatever it is, if you're doing it for people's entertainment and you put your own money into it to produce it at a high level, you should get paid for it. Do not devalue what you're doing by saying, I don't do this to get paid. You're doing it for people's enrichment, and you should be paid or compensated based upon the level of value that you're providing to those people and the level of quality in your content that you're providing. You should get paid for that. No question about it. So don't devalue yourself by saying, I don't do this to get paid. No, you do this to provide value, but you're providing value and there should be an equal exchange. You should get value back. So that's how I look at it. Let's see here. He said, I didn't like, Charles 13 says, I didn't like the fact that you couldn't rename certain files within the MPC. I don't know if it was a bug, but it would completely kill my workflow when I'm sourcing sounds. Word, yeah. Chris Davis says, okay, I'm getting ads on everyone to thus far. I'm getting ads on everyone to thus far on this live. Word. Charles 13X says YouTube was a million times better before they got bought out by Google. It was interesting. It was an interesting space for sure. Charles 13X says, I'd rather a conversation like this than a tutorial of someone trying to brainwash me into buying some new hardware. Yeah, I know. But that's the reality of it is like, if the ad revenue is not doing it, then affiliate revenue definitely got to do it. So then people are going to be like, click on this Zounds link, click on this Sweetwater link, click on this link, click on this Amazon link, click on that. That's just where it's being driven because, if you're not doing business with them directly and supporting their channel and their output, then yeah, it kind of drives them in a direction where it's like, yeah, they're gonna shield gear. Sorry. G-Ball says, question, if a creator isn't satisfied with how the algorithm steers content to his channel, how should a creator market his channel? Well, the first thing is you got to make sure that you're not confusing the audience and the algorithm. You need to make sure that each channel has a focus and a domain of interest that is focusing on, and it has to be pretty specific. I think some people get the idea that all things music production can live on a single channel, and it's just not the case. It's absolutely not the case. There are certain aspects of things that can be on a specific type of music production channel, and it depends on a lot of factors. But some people may like to see you do like beat remakes more than to see you talk about gear. Just as an example, right? And if you're doing beat remakes and people love that, then do that, but then that's your channel for that. If you want to do something else, then you gotta think about, the scope of people that are interested in those beat remakes and say, okay, well, I'm gonna focus the beat remakes on that, but then this other channel, I'm gonna focus on the talking. I've seen some great examples of producers recently expand their outreach by creating additional channels like, hey, I got a channel where I talk, I got a channel where I make beats, right? So this is the logic on it. So you gotta kind of niche down a little bit. It can't just be like all things music production because that ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work for anybody. If you do covers and there's a music production element to that, but then the people that are into covers ain't necessarily into like actually going deep into music production and all the gear stuff. So that's a different audience, different channel. So really segmenting your content on different channels can help, because otherwise you will confuse the algorithm and it won't know who to send your content to. Because what happens is, again, it's click through. So if you get a audience and you start building a subscriber base that's based on one thing, and then you start trying to push them another thing, they'll see that other thing that they're not interested in and not click through on it. And then what happens is now you're going to suffer because you're going to send signals to YouTube that says, hey, the content you're doing, they're not interested in. So therefore, we're not going to send your content out anymore. And we're going to kind of limit what you're doing until you align with what the audience expects you to do on that channel. That's the reality of it. DJ Rush says, you block Origin keeps me ad free on YouTube. Word. Joe Fire says, I like to chat them up streams. Word. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Got some YouTube premium users. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you watch it, I don't watch regular TV. I watch YouTube. I don't like cable, all that stuff. I don't watch that. I watch YouTube though. So for me, it's worth paying for. So I pay for it. That's not everybody. I think some people have the mentality that YouTube used to be this thing where people just uploaded like random content and it was like, just them wanting to share things because they had stuff to share. Like, oh, I had a camcorder and I like want to just put it out there so other people could see it. It used to be that. It's not that anymore. So if you have that mindset that it's still that, I think you are not being realistic about what's happening and the level of production that goes into the content that's on YouTube. I know I watched a lot more produced content these days. So, I pay for it because I want to be able to watch the long form content. I'll watch it or I'll listen. I'm more of a listener. So I'll listen to like a podcast or something like that myself. Like I said, I mentioned like Corey Holcomb, Craig Facts and stuff like that. I watched that kind of stuff. When All Def was doing a lot more of their roast me's and stuff. Like I watched it. That's my alternative. Like I was a big fan of Def Comedy Jam and Comic View and stuff back in the day. And we don't have those platforms anymore. But then All Def Digital comes with like roast me and that kind of stuff. I'm a fan of that. I want to watch it. I want to watch it ad free. I pay for it. Period. So it's worth it. But yeah, the ask feature on YouTube Premium, yeah, that's something special right there. If you got an ad block, that's not gonna give you that ask feature. It's that YouTube Premium will give you that ask feature. It's pretty dope. Petrol Media says, can't worry about those who complain and have negative comments. Everyone's content is not for everyone. Just support the content that resonates with you, like you stated earlier. Absolutely. Absolutely. Upbeat Media said YouTube with ads is the trenches, the absolute trenches. Like, especially, I get it. I've had people complaining like, man, bro, like too many ads. Like, I'm sorry. What can I do for you, man? I'm running a podcast format, that's what this is. It's a podcast format. Me and my wife did our first podcast. We were very early. Me and my wife were very early on podcasting, actually. We did our first podcast like over 15 years ago. We were in the podcast thing way before it became popular. This is a podcast format. That's just what it is. I like the podcast format, but that ain't for everybody, But this podcast is a music production podcast. There's not a lot of them, so I'm trying to do something different here. But that ain't for everybody. I understand. Let's see here. Dang, I think I got a mosquito in here or something. Texas, boy, oh boy, Texas. Oh man. Let's see here. Even streaming services have ads now. You have to pay to play. Yeah, they streaming services been had ads, and then Netflix is like, oh well, you can get the ad supported version or the ad free version. It's business. I get it. Let's see. DJ Skill says I do plan on selling some merch, and yes, I definitely invest into my production and studio. Great point. I just don't want to chase the dollars. No, you're not chasing the dollars. You're just expecting a fair exchange of value. You provide value, you should get value back. Don't undervalue what you do and say, oh, I'm not chasing money. You're not chasing money. You're providing value. You should receive value back. If you provide good value, you provide good entertainment, that's value to someone, that's helping someone else. They should provide value back to you, fair exchange. But if you're just like spending your money, your time, your effort, your resources to produce content, produce things that entertain people, and you don't get any value, and you say, I'm not chasing the money, then it's like, yeah, that you're gonna be net negative on that. Because people will just say, okay, cool. You don't value it, and you think it's just cool enough to just put it out there for free. So cool. No problem. I'll take it for free if you don't value it. Let's see here. Guy Francis Kono says, would it make more sense to have a separate site for musicians, beat makers, and instrumentalists alike, such as what other YouTubers have with Nebula? I have pondered that. He said another thing. I remember watching Kev Brown on Twitch quite frequently, watching him go through his process. That could be another way to build a community and teach and share. Yeah. I think pluses and minuses to having a separate site for music production, because technically it is a niche. So it doesn't have to live on YouTube. I think YouTube just has a very sophisticated search engine, and it can provide you with a lot of results quickly on certain things. So people like to put their content in a search engine optimized platform, or a search optimized platform. And it's like, yeah, you just put it there and people can find it. So I think that creates a a little bit more leverage for YouTube, but ultimately, music production doesn't have to live on YouTube. I think there's plenty of other things. People obviously Patreon exists. People put exclusive content on Patreon. I've been telling y'all to also check out Fanbase, right? Fanbase has memberships, subscriptions, and all that stuff. You can create community there. There's Discord. There's a lot of different things you can do. Your content does not have to live on YouTube at all. YouTube is just, the number 2 search engine, right? So it's like people are gonna put it there because it gives access to a lot of potential viewership, which people equate to potential revenue. But realistically, if you break down a lot of people that are doing content in their revenue streams, brand partnerships becomes one of the bigger revenue streams. It's not the viewership, it's brand partnerships. So the brand partnerships can account for much more than like this AdSense thing that we kind of see. Like, oh, because you can look at somebody's video and say, oh, they got 100,000 views on that video, they must be caking. It's like, no, the real money is going to be brand partnerships. So if you're not getting that, then it's kind of like, yeah, that AdSense ain't really it. Guy 13 or Charles 13 says, Altruwest is officially my therapist from here on out. I appreciate you, man. Mr. Spacely, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for supporting the last cook-up video that I posted today, man. Even though they, copyright claimed it or whatever, it's still up there. You can watch it, and after we get off this stream and check it out. AC Ducky says, YouTube Premium also has the YouTube Music that comes with it, and that itself is the business too. Absolutely. YouTube Music is slept on. It's my double whammy. I use it for the music as well because I happen to listen to music as well as a music producer, and having YouTube Premium allows me to just have the music app, and you can run that in the background, and it's dope. It's dope. So, another pro tip is because these videos are set up as podcasts, you can listen to them on YouTube Music in the background without having to keep the screen open. And that's another reason why it could be of a benefit to you, because it's like, hey, I pull up the Altruwest Music Production Podcast and just listen to it. I don't have to have my screen taken over by watching this video, and it works. It works. So another pro tip there. G-Ball says, when listening to podcasts, I notice ads for other podcasts. Should YouTubers buy ads on other popular channels? Why not? Why not? I mean, I think you should be buying ads on anything that you are leveraging or trying to build as a business. Like, ads are important and help you to expand your visibility beyond just relying on the algorithm, especially if you're a smaller entity or smaller channel on YouTube. It's like, yeah, you're not going to get the reach of a larger channel. Like my channel, we're on the road to 15K. We're not there yet. And even 15K is a smaller channel. So I'm not getting the visibility of larger channels. So ads work. Now, ads can be expensive, but if you're trying to grow, that can be a way to get in front of an audience, especially if you're focusing on an audience that actually aligns with what you're doing content-wise. Now, not all audiences convert to or correlate to what you're doing, so be careful with that. Because I was just having a conversation actually about, we're talking about the Kai Cenat Streamer Academy. Me and my wife were talking about that, and I was just saying how Kai Cenat's audience doesn't really align with what I'm doing, because Twitch culture is not built around education. Twitch culture is entertainment, gaming and people that watch Twitch don't typically tune in to be educated. There's some news channels, but for the most part, it's largely entertainment content. So like me going to like Kai Cenat's Streamer Academy, for example, um, wouldn't necessarily be as helpful unless I wanted to do things that align more with that audience that's more entertainment, lifestyle oriented. So it matters what audience you get yourself in front of in the end, because if I got in front of Kai Cenat's audience, I'd probably put most of them to sleep. I'm just being honest about what I do and the format. I'm not the super amped animated, whatever type of person that like a Kai Cenat is, and just the delta between his energy and my energy would be very apparent. So that audience is expecting a lot more. I think Plaque Boy Max is an example of like he's probably one of the biggest music producer streamers on Twitch. And I think his audience is like 2 million or something like that on Twitch. And he's a music producer streamer. He does music production content. But I don't know if any of you guys have watched him, but if you watch his content and look at the energy, he's I mean, I ain't gonna say, so I think sometimes you need some additional help to get that type of energy, and I'm just not on that type of time. I ain't saying that's what he on, but it's just like for me, I'm not gonna be able to match Black Boy Max energy. I'll say that. So I think that's an example. Like Black Boy Max could get in front of Kai Cenat's audience and do well. I couldn't do that. It wouldn't it wouldn't work. Let's see here. Charles 13 says, what I meant to say earlier is no need for long format tutorials, but lives like this or podcast long format is great. Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that. DJ Skill says, thanks for giving me something to think about, bro. Salute. No, I appreciate you for listening, fam. Thank you. Appreciate you. G-Ball says, that's what I was getting at, marketing versus depending on the algorithm. Yeah, I agree. You're right. Like we have to look at marketing ourselves and like going a bit more grassroots with how we share and distribute our content, our information, our products, services, and whatnot. But I think playing to the algorithm has its benefits as well. So you got to have a combination of two. You can't just only be out of pocket either, because that won't be sustainable. Charles 13X says he just learned how to produce like a month ago, literally. You talking about Plat Boy? Oh man. I mean, hey, he's still basically the biggest music production streamer. So if he learned a month ago, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. WR Keys, what's good with you, fam? That's another thing I was gonna say. If you got YouTube Premium, if you come into a live stream, there's some codes and some things you can do in the chat and ask, like, what's been going on in the chat, and it'll show you. Yeah, I see Bolo in here. What's good with you, fam? But yeah. That's another thing that YouTube Premium offers is like these different tools that help you to like consume the content and understand what's going on in the content on the content a lot easier. So yeah, don't sleep on YouTube Premium. But like I said, whoever your favorite YouTubers are that do MPC content, music production content, you can't expect them to just rely solely on AdSense. AdSense ain't enough. That 1 or 2 views that you gave them ain't enough to make the whole presentation of this type of content sustainable. So support them. If they got merch, if they got products, if they got, memberships, whatever, like super chats, anything that you can do, super thanks. Like I said, especially for those that are doing music production content that is sample based, those guys are getting cooked. So if you like seeing like good old fashioned sample based hip hop on the MPC, you are getting cooked right now. Right? You're getting cooked right now because you cannot monetize that stuff. So it's up to the viewers to help keep that type of content alive. And it's not just through watching it and liking it. You're going to have to pony up. You're going to have to actually say, I want that to stay around. Therefore, I'm going to support that. I'm going to become a member. I'm going to do something to support their channel. And that's how we keep that going. Because otherwise, music producer YouTube is going to die. It's just going to die. It's just going to turn into shield. Hey, new product, and people begging for products and then coming out with new videos to promote the product. Yeah, it's not going to work. It's going to die. And you're not going to see music, like actual music being produced anymore. You're going to see it's going to turn into a home shopping network. I already told you guys, music produced, like YouTube is very much home shopping network already. But if you don't want to lose the last little, gleam of hope from people actually posting music production stuff, then it's got to be supported outside of just the viewership. Otherwise, the brand deals are going to take over. And it's like, yeah, like send me the new gear so I can review it and give me the affiliate link so I can post that up there. And that's just what it's going to turn into. And then you're going to be like, man, remember the old days when, F Major and them used to post beats and stuff? Like that was the days. And it's like, well, them days gone. Cause listen, my background is music tech and product management. I didn't get paid as a product manager to make bad decisions that go just against the data and the logic of what's happening. I'll look at what's going on and make a decision just like anybody else would. So, I don't want us to be in a situation where it's like, man, we used to have it good, but then, like all them guys left and they started making wine and they had dispensaries and they stopped making music. Like, yeah, that'll happen. Look at a lot of your favorite rappers and stuff now. They all got wine and dispensaries and restaurants and other stuff. They ain't making music no more. So that's what it is. Let's see here. G-Ball says, folks would probably like to watch you in an actual studio session with an artist. Man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. But it's got to be supported because like it's not free to put on that type of presentation either. It's definitely a lot of work to do that, especially in the studio environment. You got to have a crew. You can't I can't produce a record with an artist and then be filming it at the same time. So then I got to have a crew and all that sort of stuff. So got to be supported besides just with the viewership. Let's see here. Bolo says a lot of channels do not make money off, do not make a lot of dollars. Subs don't mean anything. No, subs absolutely don't mean anything. It's based on other metrics now. So they'll show you somebody content even if you're not subbed to them at this point. Charles 13X says the problem with uploads as opposed to live streams like this is that there is no intimacy between the viewers and the creator. All right, this mosquito's about to have to get regulated because he's trying to tear me up right now. But yeah, I agree. I agree. That's definitely a rarity. Actual in studio sound production. Yeah, we're not getting a lot of that anymore. Not getting a lot of that. Bolo the producer says, and when you don't show new gear, subs constantly ask you to show new gear. Yep. part of it is the viewership as well. Like the viewers are asking for a certain thing, so anybody that reasonable that reads data and reads inputs will say, well, that's what they're asking for. That's what I'm gonna do. So I get it. Nowadays we have to make original music. Well, it's not just original music. Like I told you, like the beat video I did today was original music and still got copyright claimed. So it's deeper than that. Deeper than that. Joe Fire says, for some reason we don't support one another. We rather cry and call everything trash. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. It's a lot of that going on too. And that's what happens. Like everything becomes like a scam now because it's like, well, like, man, now this person's got to sell, and shield products and stuff. So then it's like, oh, he's a scammer because he's shilling products. It's like, well, look at the situation and what has driven him to as well. It's like, well, what's their other option? Like they can't make their living off of AdSense, so of course they're gonna start selling stuff. Like, oh, he's selling an ebook now, or he's selling a drum kit. Like, of course they are. Now, I don't have a problem with anybody selling drum kits, ebooks, courses. Sell your. I'd rather see producers on YouTube, especially, sell their own products, and I think we just have to support that. I'd rather that than us sell stuff for these big companies in exchange for like some free gear, because there's only so much that we can live off of. Like, yes, it helps the channel, it gives authority, but it's like, man, if we can get to a place where like we actually getting paid for it, like, because other niches are getting paid for doing content. It's like, I think we kind of sell ourselves short when we make this content and we just get free gear and don't get anything else out of it. Let's see here. Read a couple more things and then we'll get up out of here. The game said a while back, hip hop is not hiring. Yeah. G-Ball says we gotta stop biting EPMD for our beats. Man, come on. I'm like, man, did they see the W30 in my video and say, oh, he must be biting Eric Sermon because he got a W30 and a motif in that shot. So it must be an EPMD. I'm gonna get into, some of the logic around what I'm seeing with that one. That'll be a separate video. But we're gonna talk about that copyright situation because Room at the top says, how can original music get copyright claim? If it's original, then we would own the copyright. Show me who is claiming my music. I'm not taking that laying down. Well, UMG is claiming something that I made that was original that has no samples, and they're saying it is EPMD. You're a customer. I don't use loops at all. I don't use splice. I never use any loops in my productions on YouTube. So it's a little bit deeper than that, but I'll get into like what I'm seeing logically is what their algorithm for content ID is doing. But yeah, I'm almost like, man, did they see the W30 and say Eric Sermon uses that? We know that. So and he also used the motif. So that's the EPMD thing. No, we're gonna get into it. Look, y'all, we almost out of time. Want to thank everybody that's tuned in to this stream. It's been a good conversation. Hopefully you got some value out of this. If you got value out of this, of course, hit the like button. You're welcome to super chat. You're welcome to Cash App. You're welcome to support this channel in any way you see fit. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the viewership. I appreciate the conversation. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Even though we said subscribers don't necessarily matter, I am still on the road to 15K. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel. And you can also support this channel by becoming a member of our True Sound Creators membership that features over 60 hours of archival footage that is music production related. Great interviews with people like EA Ski, Snipe Young, Divided Souls. We have a lot of valuable content that will help music producers gear walkthroughs, gear comparisons, and shootouts. A lot of good information there. People are still commenting on the converters video I did, talking about, man, that one definitely was an eye opener. So it's a lot of good stuff in there. Become a member of our True Sound Creators. Upbeat Media is going to put a link in the chat where you can become a member. And if you're watching this on a video on demand, I will have a link in the video description, and also there will be a button if you're on the desktop. So also, if you're interested in that next level of information from this channel, go ahead and pick up my ebook, The Sound Mind, which is designed for music producers. It is a guide that contains over 20 years of insights, protocols, and different strategies that I've used as a music producer over the past 20 years, and also as a professional sound designer for companies like Native Instruments and Yamaha. So if you're interested in getting information and access to these strategies, protocols, and all this game essentially that I've collected over the past 20 years, go ahead and purchase the Sound Mind. It's a great way to support the channel. And true sound creators get this at a special price of $19.99. So become a true sound creator and you get access to it for $19.99. It's just that simple. But otherwise, $47, and it's still super valuable. I've had so many people tell me, like, man, you dropped a lot of game in this. Actually, man, it's probably worth more than that. Maximus, I see you for this. I see it with the super chat, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Joe Fire, I appreciate you, fam. Thank you so much. Upbeat Media's put a link to where you can get access to the Sound Mind. Man, we got to Ask Me Anything next week. Next week at 4 p.m. Central Time, we can do an Ask Me Anything. And hopefully by then I'm gonna have some other announcements. We got some other stuff we've been working on too. Some dope stuff. I've been trying to set up some dope stuff. Like I said, we already got the situation with RME. So if you guys are interested in getting RME audio interfaces, you can use the coupon code Altruwest on the RME website, and you can get what was it? I think it was 10% off of the off of the list price. Yeah, I think it was like 10%. Go ahead and go to the RME site. I'm gonna have a link in the video description. I think Upbeat Media can post a link to where you can go use the coupon code Altruwest to get RME stuff, audio interfaces. You know how we do it. We are big on the converters and whatnot here. So if you're interested in tapping in with RME, that's a good look. But I'm also working on some other stuff. I'm trying to get it cracking for real so that we can add some real value here. And next week, I'm hoping that I have some other announcements. So stay tuned. But yeah, next week is Ask Me Anything. Be sure to tune in. It's going to be a dope one. All right. So I appreciate y'all as always. It's been real. It's been love. Much respect to everybody that joined and tapped in and showed love here. And yeah, man. Until next time, I want to tell y'all peace and God bless.